Good afternoon, Michael Havers here from Penn News, and today I'm in Thetford, part of the southwest Norfolk constituency. Now, over the course of the Listening to Britain series so far, I've been fortunate to visit the seats of several Prime Ministers. I went to the Richmond seat of Rishi in Yorkshire, where I spoke to voters who much preferred him as a local MP to a national PM. I went to the former constituency of Boris Johnson in Uxbridge, where news of a potential political comeback went down with most of them about as well as a cup of cold sick. And I've been to the constituency of the man who might be our next Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, in Holborn and St Pancras. And for all the admirers he's picked up there, he certainly picked up some critics, especially over the subject of Gaza. But there's one Prime Minister's seat that I've been meaning to visit, which I hadn't got round to so far, and it's perhaps the most impactful Prime Minister of recent British history, certainly the shortest served. I am of course referring to Liz Truss. Swept to high office, she enacted a series of unfunded tax cuts which caused a revolt in the markets. Interest rates shot up, and people with debts and mortgages or even just rent to pay suddenly found that they were being hit in the pocket quite hard. The Prime Minister became very unpopular very quickly, and the Conservative Party removed her from office. That's not the way she remembers it, however. She sees it as she was undermined by sinister agents of the deep state with a woke agenda. I've got a theory about the word woke, by the way, that future archaeologists, when they're combing through the strata of our society, will keep coming across this word woke and will struggle with it because of the many and varied definitions that have been attributed to it. And eventually they'll probably settle on the idea that it was some sort of malignant deity that was responsible for all the ills of society, which could only be placated by electing the right Prime Minister. That's my thought anyway. But for all of the Trumpian rhetoric of Liz Truss, she doesn't have the popularity of Donald Trump, and there's real question marks now over whether or not she can retain this previously safe Tory seat in southwest Norfolk. I've seen different companies saying different things. Some say that Labour are going to walk it, some say she's going to walk it, and some say it's too close to call. Well, until the results become known on the day after the election, we can't say for sure. The best we can do is speak to the voters here in Thetford, which we're going to do now. So join me, paid up members of the Wokerati and warriors against the same, as we set out to speak to the voters. Here we go. I mean, obviously the MP around here is Liz Truss. Have you got any thoughts on her?
I don't. That would make me laugh.
Why?
Oh my God.
I think she does very little for Thetford and South West Norfolk.
Never see her. I've never seen her at all. I've heard that she's been about, but I don't see her about. I don't think she's done an awful lot for us, not gonna lie. As a young person.
Fine, well she did actually knock on my door and I spoke to her.
Yeah.
Right, when was that?
Oh, about 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Right, okay. And do you think she's been good for this constituency?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
I've not really had a lot of contact with her actually. You know, I did when we was trying to move from where we were to where we are now. Getting through to Flagship was a complete waste of time. So
Is that your housing association?
And?
Is that your housing association?
Yeah. So I wrote an email to Liz Truss. I didn't get an answer. I got it from, I think, from her secretary or whatever. Still didn't do any good. So
Right.
I just waited until we finally did actually get a move.
Well, to be perfectly honest, we've never even ever seen her. So, being good for the area, I don't think she's done anything for the area, especially around here. She may have done things where down a market and them sort of areas, which seem to be her most places she go to, but never seen her here.
Right.
And not even actually heard anything from her in this election.
Right, you think she's sort of gone to ground a bit?
Well, we've not had any paperwork through or anything.
She tries her best, but I don't know whether she's done any good.
I was going to say, she's got the right.
She's got the ideas.
I like to think, she knows. She's got, what's the word, a good moral compass to, I suppose the people and all that. But
whether she actually achieves
she don't have
what
the
she
ability,
says.
She doesn't have the ability to execute it.
Yeah,
that's the only problem.
Yeah, that's about right. I'd say.
No, I really haven't got anything to say about that, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I didn't approve her when she came in. I would vote Conservative, but I wouldn't vote for Liz Truss.
Locally, I haven't really been following much of what she does, to be honest. So I'm not sure, but I do think she's turned a bit of a corner since she was outed from her little tiny spell.
Right, the brief time in number 10.
I do think that she has it's opened her eyes to corruption, and she has become a better, slightly, I mean, I don't know, because the proof is in the pudding, not much has changed since that time, but I'm slightly more in her favour.
Do you remember her time in government when she was...
A short
Prime Minister?
time, yeah.
It was a short time. Any thoughts on that?
Disgraceful. To be representing us and to be in the public view the way that she was, and not last very long, it just doesn't seem to give us a lot of confidence. Well, me, it's definitely a lot of confidence. And yeah, she really didn't do a lot for us, I don't feel, anyway.
A fleeting memory, very short time.
How do you think she got on in the office?
I don't think she did get on. And she's got the gall to take that sum of money, regular sum of money, after that. I don't know how she can do that.
Is it the police protection stuff for former Prime Ministers? Is that what you're referring to?
No, the actual money that she takes.
Oh, right, yeah.
For ex-Prime Ministers.
Sure.
If you can call her that.
Well, perhaps not
great.
so good. No.
Right. Well, what would you say about that particular period?
Bit of a disaster.
I think, yeah.
Sorry.
I think she had ideas, but perhaps it wasn't the time to do things that she wanted then.
Not very good.
Not very good. What stands out as...
49 days, I think it was, wasn't it?
You know better than me. What was it that stands out to you as being bad about it?
Well, she tried to, all this sort of taxing, the mini budget and all the rest of it, basically she tried to do too much, too fast.
Not very positive, the impact on mortgages and mortgage rates. My daughter can't now buy a house because the rates are too high once they work those things out, and I'm aware of people whose retirement income has virtually dissipated.
A disaster, absolute disaster. That's why we are where we are now.
Well, I just thought it was diabolical what she done. You know, we're in such a mess as it is.
I think she might have got pushed into it a little bit too much. I'm not expecting what she was...
Too many people said no to the position that eventually just got passed around to someone said they wanted the position.
It fell to her to take it, but then of course she had too many people against her when she actually got it. So
yeah, I was going to say that also when she first came in, also a lot of people didn't really have much faith in, to be fair, had the right to be, because she didn't have any previous experience.
yeah, so she didn't get a chance really.
I do feel that anyone in that position would have their hands tied and they would have restrictions put upon them.
Do you buy into what she says about why she ended up losing the job, which is that it was agents of the deep state and the wokes and all that? So,
yes,
right.
I'm a radical.
Fair enough.
It just feels that we're a bit let down by her.
Do you think people around here are kind of embarrassed about...
Yeah, definitely. I just feel that everyone that would have voted for her normally are now considering an option that's not her.
I'm not exactly sure what she was trying to do. I think she was trying to sort of like increase sort of the economy and stuff like that. But it was too fast, too much, and her own party went against her. Right, and it just didn't seem to work properly.
How do you feel like Rishi Sunak's getting on? Do you think he's doing better?
I would like to see him back in, but I fear he won't.
He's out of touch, completely out of touch. He has not got a clue about how the normal people live, and it just... If you was to say to him how much is a loaf of bread, he wouldn't have a clue. Or a pint of milk. He's so out of touch with the normal people.
He wouldn't know what it was like to live in some of the places that people live in. I think in the time that he's been in, he's done quite well, really. So, yeah.
I'm not terribly impressed, really, and certainly not impressed by the scandals that are going on and lies and those sorts of things, which are continuing to this day.
What scandals were you referring to in particular?
Well, we started off with the Boris Johnson ones, but now if we're talking about Rishi Sunak, we've got the current ones going on around placing bets on when the election would be. It's just not ethical.
Sure.
It's just not ethical practice.
I feel like it's a mess.
Right. Anything in particular gives you that impression?
Just the way that MPs just do not have the conviction behind what they're saying, really. To be honest, I really didn't feel like they gave Boris a chance, and I just felt like, Rishi Sunak, well, I never voted for him,
Sure.
So, you know, and I think a lot of people do feel like that.
I suppose what's it? The last few prime ministers we had, what's it? Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, what's it? And then I can't remember the woman
Theresa
that came
May.
up. Yeah, Theresa May, that one
yeah.
that came up to Cameron. What's it? The thing is, what's it? They don't really do much because it's just too much in fire.
They do a lot of talking, but they don't seem to follow it through with a
It
lot of
hasn't made the
actions.
situation any better or any worse. I think he had a lot of policies about small boats. And,
Yeah, and that seems to have gone.
He's focused on all the wrong points, I feel. A lot of it's about immigration, and as a young person within my young person community, a lot of people do feel the same. They feel that that's a big issue, but for me, I work in the NHS. So the NHS for me is a bigger thing to be focusing on. Sure. Not about the immigrants, not about what's happening. You know, I'm not bothered about that. I'd rather we focus on stuff that's happening now and to us. And for my child's future as well.
I don't think anybody trusts the government anymore, not the Conservatives anyway. Since they've been in, I mean, basically everything has been messed up. You know, nothing has gone right. The economy has gone down. The taxes have gone up. All right, inflation's coming down now, but the tax burden on the taxpayers now is unbelievable. Right, it is coming down slowly. But the bank rates, mortgages, the whole lot has gone through the roof. You've got the cost of living crisis, which, all right, he's helped out by giving us like £900 to help out, but you know, you just can't seem to trust anyone.
The Tories at this moment in time keep blaming other people for things that have gone wrong, and yet when they came into power, they blamed the Labour Party then for things that had gone wrong, apart from the fact that that was a worldwide thing. And then,
Of the global financial crisis.
yeah,
Sure.
and then suddenly they then use it as an excuse for the other things which go wrong.
At the end of the day, he's going to protect his wealth and his status, isn't he? Because everybody, once you get a certain level of wealth, you never want to be a poor peasant serf again. Not that he's probably ever been one, but...
Sure. And how do you feel about the other side, about Labour and Keir Starmer?
Same. Right wing. The right wing and the left wing belong to the same bird. At the end of the day, they have to get their money and their finances off of corporations and banks. So they, you know, it's like, can you lend me some money because I want to put the world right? And it's like, yeah, but you've got to pay all of this interest, and we're only lend it to you if you do these particular things.
Hello, and can I just encourage those of you who are watching on YouTube to drop us a like and to subscribe too. That helps the channel and it ensures you won't miss on any future videos. And yeah, please, if you disagree with something that somebody has said today, let us know in the comments. Let us know how you feel. If you think they made a good point, I'd like to hear from you down there. And can you also check out the Pen News Substack at pennews.substack.com. That's Pen News, pennews.substack.com, where you can find all of our weekly Vox Pops in full with analysis, as well as all the other stories we're working on in the course of the week. That's it for now. Let's get back to it.
I don't like Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer,
Yeah, the
sorry.
Labour guy, yeah.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on him?
I don't know, I just don't think he comes over as a genuine person.
Is there anything in particular that drives that, or is it just sort of your...
No, it's a general opinion of him, and I think it's a general opinion of quite a few people who I've spoken to. I've yet to find someone who says, I like him.
The polls at the moment are pointing to probably Keir Starmer being the next Prime Minister. Have you got any thoughts about Labour and Keir Starmer?
God help us.
God help us.
I'm just neutral, really. I don't know.
Right. So we've got a not happy about it and not sure about it.
I'm
Would that
not
be fair
sure
to say?
about, yeah. I can do a worse job. I know they're a bit unproven, certainly in the last few years, but you know, if they're going to win it, I just hope they take into account local people at local level and not so London centric.
Do you think that they've got a chance to win here, or do you think this is just going to be a true blue seat?
They do, in terms of a local candidate does know the area, he lives in the area. I'm not saying I'll vote for him particularly, but he has a much better handle on what happens in this area.
How do you feel about the other side? How do you feel about the Labour Party?
I feel the same way actually, because we don't have the politicians like we used to have. They used to have more conviction with what they were saying, and basically, you know, I mean, the last one that I can think of is probably Maggie Thatcher, that had the convictions and actually sort of followed what she thought.
They're supposed to represent opposing ideals, but they just kind of say the same thing.
Yeah, I don't have any faith in Keir Starmer, definitely not.
Yeah, I think I'd rather vote for Tory than Labour, because at least with Tory you know what you're going to get. You'll pretty much either get someone who messes up a little bit or just keeps it the same as it is.
Everybody else seems to have that immigrant focus, whereas Keir Starmer's got an awful lot more focused on us as Great Britain, as a general public, rather than what outside effects are having on us. So like, you know, the NHS and pledging for things like that, I lean more towards that than I would anything else.
I wouldn't vote for them if you paid me to, unfortunately. I can remember I used to be a staunch Labour voter. When Blair got in, sold off the industry, tried to sell off our White Cliffs of Dover to France, and opened all the...
I've not heard of that one. Tried to sell off the White Cliffs of Dover to France?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, basically, he tried to, from what I can make out, he tried to sort of sell the White Cliffs of Dover to France, so that basically all the immigrants could come over here, right? All right, I know they need to go somewhere, but it was apparently, from what I'd heard, it was that they were being in control of Dover and stuff like that, so they could all come over here and there was nothing we could do to stop it.
So would it be fair to say immigration is probably your big objection to Labour? Is that?
It is, yeah.
Keir is somebody who he doesn't come over brilliantly sometimes. I will definitely be voting for him, but I think we could have somebody a bit more dynamic as a leader rather than him.
Have you given any thought to how you might vote in this election, or indeed if you might vote?
Yeah, I'm voting for reform.
Voting for reform,
Yeah.
okay. So what's drawn you to Mr Farage and his party?
Simply because the main reason is that I want to get rid of the two-party system. So I want Labour and Tory just to go, because at the end of the day, both of them, like I say, they have to be a puppet for big bankers.
No, I haven't finally decided yet, but it won't be for Conservative.
Right. And any other parties you sort of considering at the moment?
No, not really, not seriously.
So it's going to be a tough call, you think?
Yes, yeah.
I am still in a quandary because this is the first time I can honestly say that I don't know.
I don't know, and we're not here anyway, are we? We're on holiday.
No, we are. I really am a bit...
Don't do that again.
I think it's going to be like what happens on the day, basically, because I'm still... I'm not inclined to vote for Labour, but then, I don't know.
Definitely not Conservative.
Right.
I am reading all the information. It wouldn't be for some of the smaller, more extreme parties either. So I will reserve judgment until I see all the debates and things like that.
To be honest, there's not one of them that I actually would feel 100% about.
So you're not tempted by any of the smaller parties?
Not really, no.
Who have you voted for in the past, if you're happy to share? Has it been a mix, or...?
No, I've always been Conservative, but it won't be this time.
If I was to vote, I would have, as funny as it sounds, I'd probably go with Reform just because they're a new party.
Sure.
That's actually me and my wife have said that, because whether or not they follow through with their policies, but they're saying the right things, but it's like most things with the government. Will they follow it through, or is it just talk?
Half-assed promises.
Is it just talk, or they're not going to manage to win an election? But if they get a few seats, then
they'll probably, next few elections that come up, they'll probably get a few more followers. Depending on what they say, what they do.
I haven't made my full decision. I am leaning more towards Labour. My family have all been Labour voters, and I have voted Labour in the past. Sure. Regardless, I know I'm not voting Conservative. They've had long enough, and I don't feel they've made a major difference. I think we've just been gradually declining over the 14 years that they've been in power. And I know they gave it, like Brexit and things like that, they gave us the choice, the vote for that. I just don't feel that it was very well marketed, and a lot of people changed their decisions when we're in and then we're out, and it was just a big old mess.
I'm not going to vote.
Not going to vote? No.
Not at all, no.
How come?
Because every time they come up, they turn around and say, oh yes, we're going to do this, this, this and this. And 9 times out of 10, they renege on every single thing they say they're going to do.
I know you said you voted Labour in the past, but...
I used to, yeah.
That was before Blair.
Yeah.
Who have you gone with since then? Anyone in particular, or has it tended to be a mix?
No. After Blair was finished and done with it, I started voting Conservative.
And you're not tempted by any of the smaller parties?
No.
you've said that you're looking to vote for Labour in this. If I hear that right? Are you thinking the same as well? Yeah. And historically, have you guys always tended to go for Labour?
Yeah. Reform want to go towards proportional representation. If you get proportional representation, then hopefully everyone's opinions can all have like a fair crack of the whip locally about what they want.
You say that you quite liked Rishi. You think Liz Truss has been good as a local MP at least. It sounds like you're leaning Conservative. What's putting you off of them?
Only simply because I think he doesn't stand much chance of getting in, but I'm probably leaning that way, to be honest.
But towards the Conservatives?
Yeah, I think so.
Leaning towards or away from anyone? Apart from Conservatives, obviously.
Leaning away from Conservative, leaning away from people like Reform, because I don't share the same values, if you want to call them values.
So I think something needs to change, and I think we need two new clear front runners, whether that be Reform and Liberal Democrats, whoever it is.
So you'd like them out of opposition as well? You'd like?
Yeah, I think we need two clear front runners, a different choice than Conservative. I don't feel that they've done what they've promised over the 14 years that they've been in.
What would be the ideal number of seats for the Conservatives to win if you had your way?
About third position. I wouldn't say however many seats, but about third position. I still believe that they should be given their ideas, because I believe in some of their ideas, but they haven't forced them. They haven't given us the choice.
And if Reform, I mean, there's a chance they could destroy the Conservatives, is what the Conservatives might say. But if that's also the flip side of that coin, would be Labour becoming very, very strong.
Yeah.
Do you think that's an acceptable first step?
Yes, yeah. So I think that Labour will get in. I'm not happy about it. However, it takes a long time to evolve something into something good. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a starting point. Reform are a fresh party. They may do good, they might not, but at the end of the day, it's the first step to getting rid of the two-tier party system.
Nigel Farage he has got a lot of good ideas, and some of what he says I can honestly say is some thoughts that I've had as well, but I'm not sure whether I would vote for him at the moment. So
No, he's very true, says things what he thinks, should do, and he's very to the point. But I just think I don't know whether he even wants to be, Prime Minister as such. I think he's just, playing one against the other.
Reform, alright, Farage, he says what he means, but will he do what he says? It's the same as will Starmer. Will he do what he says, or whoever gets in the Conservatives, will they do? I don't know anymore. So basically with me now, it's just sort of like I'm just not going to bother.
I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't expecting that. I thought maybe we'd find some people who were saying, Liz Truss wasn't so bad, but for all the people we did speak to, I didn't meet a single person who told me they were planning on voting Conservative this time round. I met some don't knows, I met some people who were voting Reform, and I met some people who were going for Labour as well. And this is a safe Conservative seat, remember. So how it's going to turn out, I don't know. I came here thinking that Liz Truss would be safely re-elected. I'm leaving, not so sure. Well, that's it for now. As I said earlier, please drop us a like if you're watching on YouTube, and subscribe too, and drop us a comment, let us know how you feel. Anyway, that's it for now, and the next time you see me, we will have a new government. Cheerio for now, and go out and vote. Bye-bye.